The 180-degree rule ensures that the viewer will comprehend the relative position of characters in a scene, and it keeps the cinematic space occupied by those characters from being confusing. The following analysis of a scene from Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo will help illustrate this important cinematic tool. Let's begin with the establishing shot, or master shot. Here we clearly see the spatial relationship between Scotty and Midge. Now let's draw an imaginary line between them. This line is known as the 180-degree line, the line, or the axis of action. This line is very important to the 180-degree rule. It determines where the camera will be placed to preserve screen direction. Remember, the camera will be placed on this side of the line only. Otherwise, the cinematic space will become illegible. On this side of the line, there are 180 degrees of space that can be safely occupied by the camera without disorienting the viewer, hence the title, the 180-degree rule. When cutting between two characters who are interacting, this is what adherence to the 180-degree rule looks like. However, if the camera jumps the line, the character's position in the cinematic space becomes incoherent, like this. Sometimes directors jump the line intentionally for dramatic effect. Ozu, an acclaimed Japanese filmmaker, did this often. And American director Michael Mann paid homage to Ozu in this scene from The Insider. But back to Scotty and Midge. We last saw them in the master shot, where, among other things, the axis of action was established. Now watch as the axis of action shifts when Scotty moves to stand in front of the lamp. The camera moves too. You can see now that our imaginary line is redrawn. Watch the line as Scotty moves to the chair, and as he moves to the wall. The important thing to be aware of is that while Scotty and the camera move around Hitchcock's created cinematic space, the camera remains on the chosen side of the axis of action. The next part of the scene involves a pretty complicated shift of character position and redrawing of the axis of action. Midge gets up and moves to the record player while Scotty goes to the middle of the room. Though this rearrangement is complex, it occurs on camera so that the viewer maintains spatial orientation. Now, watch as Scotty and Midge move side by side to the curious brazier. Next, Midge returns to her desk. Scotty moves to the couch, and the axis of action and the camera moves with them. Now comes a major reorientation of the axis as Scotty moves from screen right to screen left. Notice how he crosses over the established axis of action, thereby creating a new one. Now he is left of Midge. As soon as this new axis is established, it changes again as Scotty crosses the room, occupying space screen right of Midge, redrawing the axis of action once more. Next, the axis of action changes as Midge gets up and goes to the kitchen to retrieve a stool. Finally, Midge approaches Scotty with a stool, and the axis of action changes once more before the scene ends.